Hey guys, welcome to Dylan's Little Hobbies, and today we are going to be talking about Star Wars Rebels Season 4, Episode 3, and Episode 4, In the Name of the Rebellion Part 1 and Part 2. I'm doing it like this because they were actually given to us like this. So I'm going to be doing both, and I got to tell ya, I really liked the first episode. Now, I have to tell you this. I will slap on the back of this video the review for the second episode for part 2. I have not seen part 2 yet. I have only watched part 1. I'm going to review part 1 and then I will come back and review part 2 for you guys. That's the plan here. Now, Star Wars Rebels Season 4, Episode 3, In the Name of the Rebellion Part 1. I really liked this episode, and oh my god, this just throws me back into Star Wars. This truly felt like Star Wars. These episodes have really felt like Star Wars. Like, I remember the first episode, the humor in it kind of took me out of, the Star Wars feel. The second episode was a whole lot better. The third episode is perfect in my opinion, and the fourth episode is just, I think the fourth episode is going to be entertaining, guys. I really think the fourth episode is going to be good. But what happens in part 1 is, well, they're actually going to Yavin 4, which is, of course, Mon Mothma's big base. And they go there and they actually see Zeb, and they actually see Hera coming in from a mission, and we get somewhat like a little short reunion of these guys. It's very, very nice. I love seeing, like, sort of this reunion of these guys, and of course, Hera kind of has, an attitude against Kanan and Ezra. I actually really liked seeing her attitude towards it. I don't know why, I just feel like they're really going to stress the relationship between Hera and Kanan in this season, and I just really like the fact that in almost every episode they seem to be playing on that more and more. And it's just fantastic to see these guys back, and really you get the feeling that they haven't seen each other for a while, and that they have been through everything that they've been through, and knowing what they've been through, especially if you've seen the past 3 seasons, you know how heavy it is what they've been through, and then they all just come together like a little family here with its little family squabble. It just is fantastic to see these guys back. Unfortunately, we really don't have time to focus on that too much, because Saw Garara shows up out of nowhere. So what happens is Mon Mothma she already has a mission planned out for the Ghost crew, and there's even this one really cool line saying that Hera says, saying she could definitely do this mission. They don't call the ship the Ghost for nothing. It's really a really good line. I really liked that line in this episode. It was perfect. And the whole mission is they're going to go to a satellite dish that is under the control of the Empire. It's an Empire dish, and they're going to tap into it so they can start listening onto the Empire and what they say and stuff like that. So it's a really cool little idea, and what I really like here is, you see, Ezra's point of view is much like Saw Gerrera's, and all he wants to do is get in there and get the job done and fight. But Mon Mothma, she sees it like, what she should. She sees it as a politician point of view, probably because she's a politic. And you see, I just really like the diversity on opinion between Saw Gerrera and Mom Martha, and of course Ezra and Mom Martha, because yeah, here's the thing: when you're in the middle of battle, you have a split second to decide whether or not what you're doing is for the greater good. Okay? And sometimes, even when it sounds like it's not on paper, it might be for the greater good. You probably just really don't have the time to save everybody. And Saw Gerrera at this point is like that. He's just been through it all, and he decides, you know what? I gotta get in there, I gotta get the job done, and it's going to be for the greater good. Who cares if 1 or 2 people die? I'm saving the entire galaxy. But of course, Mom Martha, being on the politician side, in other words, the safe side, the side that's not in the midst of battle, seen on the propaganda side, if you will, sees it more as everything that he's doing is terroristic. You know, he's not trying to save anybody, he's just being a terrorist. You know, and it's just very interesting, the politics in Star Wars. And you can really compare them to the politics we have now, which I'm really not going to get into. But it's very interesting to see that play out. And I believe that this Star Wars is a very good opportunity to teach young kids about small politics. Of course, they're not going to go straight up into politics, unless you're watching Phantom Menace, which is episode 1, which is nothing but politics. But nonetheless, I just really liked the views they have in this. You see, Mom Martha's way is to make sure that she is fighting for the goodness of the I said universe, but of the galaxy. But she doesn't want the galaxy, when the war is over, to say, you know what, you're as bad as the Empire. We're not gonna join you. You know, but that's what Saw Gerrera doesn't see. Saw Gerrera, I don't think Saw Gerrera thinks she's going to live long enough to see the end of this war, which, considering that he doesn't live long enough to see the end of this war, makes sense. But it's just, the politics is very interesting. And there's even this one scene where Saw Gerrera has a droid in the midst of Mom Martha's base, and the droid actually puts on a hologram, and it's a hologram of Saw Gerrera, and he talks to Mom Martha, and you can just see the political differences between them and the plans between them, and I just absolutely loved seeing that in this episode. You can really tell why Mom Martha is so against Saw Gerrera, and I believe in the next episode, Saw Gerrera is definitely going to show how crazy he really is. You know, that he has no choice but to finish the mission and move on. You know, he wants to save the galaxy. He doesn't care if 1 or 2 people die. You know, it's all for the greater good. It's just very interesting point of views, in my opinion. So, by the end of the episode, they go on the mission, and Saw Gerrera shows up out of pretty much nowhere, saves Ezra and Sabien, and of course Chopper. If you have to save Chopper, of course you have to save Chopper. Okay, I don't like Chopper, but come on, I'm not that mean. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm having fun with you guys. It's Star Wars. I feel like a nerd, and that's where I'm at my happiest, is when I feel like I'm a complete nerd. So, Saw Gerrera shows up. He saves them just before he blows up the satellite that was supposed to be used to, you know, listen in on the Empire. But you know what's really interesting is, you see, they get there, they get to the mission and everything, and then the Empire shows up, and causes a bunch of trouble and everything. And there's some kiddish jokes here and there. Again, it's a kid's show. Whenever I hear those kiddish jokes or see those kiddish jokes, I mean, for God's sakes, Ezra in this episode waves high to the enemy. It's just, it takes me out of the Star Wars feel, but luckily it was only like 2 jokes that did that. So as long as they keep those jokes down, the humor might not bother me that much, but still, that was the only part that I didn't enjoy. But anyway, Saw Gerrera shows up, he saves them from both the Empire and blows up their satellites, and then takes Sabien and Ezra and Chopper with them off on another adventure. That's the end of the episode. And of course, you know, Kanan and Syndulla are heading back to Yavin 4 base. And that is the end of the episode. That is the end of episode 4, part 1 of In the Name of Rebellion. I'm going to go watch part 2. See you guys in a second. Okay, so part 2 of In the Name of the Rebellion. I knew it. I knew that we were going to see what Saw Gerrera really was about. And what did we get? We got to see what Saw Gerrera really is about. So Saw Gerrera has some intel that the Empire is using some crate ships to move something very secretive. But because they don't want people to know about it, they're using just plain old regular ships that no one thinks it's going to be an Empire. And even Ezra and Sabien are somewhat criticism about this. Because, you know, they look like bounty hunter ships. It looks like a general run-to-the-mill grocery store kind of trip. It doesn't seem like there's going to be something really important on that ship at all. Which, of course, Saw Gerrera, with his intel, knows that there's going to be something big, something that is very important to a very big weapon. He doesn't know what that weapon is, but on the outside, we know what that weapon is. That is the weapon to the Death Star. The Death Star. Of course it's gonna be the Death Star. This is Star Wars. But it's just fantastic. So Saw Gerrera knows that there is a weapon out there. He knows that they are creating a weapon. He knows that whatever is on this cargo ship is going to play a big role in that weapon. He's gotta find out what that weapon is. Unfortunately, he hasn't seen Rogue One yet. He finds out what that weapon is and he blows up because of it. But anyway, moving on. So what happens is they go onto the ship, and eventually they stumble across some prisoners, and they of course see the Empire is there and everything, and they figure, alright, so there are prisoners here. Ezra and Sabien of course want to save them, but Saw Gerrera sees it, like I said, in the, well, not the last episode, but you know, when I was doing the review for part 1, I said in that Saw Gerrera doesn't care if 2 people die. He's looking at the greater good, you know. So he doesn't care about these prisoners, and there's more than 2 of them. There's like 5 to 7 of them, I think. Not very many of them, but anyway, there is something more precious on that ship than just these prisoners, and they go to search for what that is. They find Death Troopers. Death Troopers from Rogue One. I love it. I absolutely love it. The voices of the Death Troopers kind of made me laugh though, and it again took me out. It's that small little piece of humor that I simply just don't like about Rebels, you know? But that was the only moment that took me out of the Star Wars feel, is when these Death Troopers were speaking with these really funny and weird voices. I mean, you don't expect scary-looking Death Troopers to sound like that, you know what I mean? Moving on. Let's not write a bad review because a stormtrooper had a funny voice, okay? So, moving on. What happens is they fight the Death Troopers and they find out what they are protecting. They are protecting a giant kyber crystal. This is when Saw Gerrera betrays Ezra and Sabine, zapping them, tying them up, and then trying to convince Sabine and he's trying to convince Sabine and what's his name? Ezra. I'm sorry, guys. Saw Gerrera tries to convince them that he's doing something good, but like they're seeing it more, and it's really funny. Ezra is seeing more of Mon Mothma's way over Saw Gerrera's. So, like the politics, man, I just love it. And then what eventually happens is, you know, both sides are making excellent points, but Saw Gerrera knows what he has to do. So he takes Ezra's lightsaber, jams it into the lightsaber crystal, turns it off, flies away on his ship, and asks Ezra and Sabine to join him, but Ezra has to save those. They have to save those other people. They have to save the prisoners. Saw Gerrera doesn't want help. So what happens is they eventually do save the prisoners. The kyber crystal blows up, blowing up the Empire ship as well. And then their power runs out just in the nick of time for Hera to show up and save their butts. That's the end of the episode, and we have not seen the last of Saw Gerrera. I believe he's going to be back somewhere in this season as well. I believe he's going to be back. I believe that. I really just like these two episodes, guys. These two episodes, when watching them back to back, oh my god, they're just flawless, in my opinion. The jokes, the humor takes me out of Star Wars feel, like I've been saying for all of this review, but ignoring that, they have a fantastic story, and they're really taking more of a, not necessarily a darker tone, but a more adult tone to it, and I really like the fact that they are doing that for adults like me, who want to feel like kids, who are big kids in the sense for Star Wars, and really for small little kids, the more adult elements can of course be taught to those small kids, and I just love the fact that they really are taking that risk in this season, especially because this is the last season to do it in. Nonetheless, guys, I absolutely love these episodes. Let me know down in the comments down below if you liked these episodes in the name of the rebellion. And I just love the title of it, In the Name of the Rebellion. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm out. Bye. By the way, do you like my crazy hair?